Hello and welcome to Hot Dog and a Handshake Classic. This is the show that we are doing where we would go back, we look at an older show, review it, and give our thoughts with a 2024 perspective and, a younger wrestling fan's perspective. This week, we thought we got to start with a big moment, right, in wrestling history. We got to, and then we also went, well, what's in the news? King of the Ring's happening right now. So we went back to King of the Ring 1998. Best known for the match between The Undertaker and Mankind.
I wouldn't even say the match, I'd say the spot.
Yeah, best known for the single spot where he gets thrown off the cage, of course. But honestly, a pretty solid card that we get to go through here. So this match, or this show, happened on June 28th, 1998, in the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Commentated by Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, who were joined by Triple H for the King of the Ring final, because he was the previous year's winner, which is kind of cool. That makes sense. Have Woods commentate at King and the Queen of the Ring this year.
Also, I think it was a show, a very funny line of Triple H coming up this tonight.
We'll get there. Of course, we are recording this before the King of the Ring pay-per-view. It will come out after. But
Silent Dark. Congratulations to Tama Tonga.
Yes, congratulations, Tama Tonga. Congratulations, Nia Jax. And congratulations to Logan Paul.
Obviously, yes.
You want to get into the matches? Anything else you want to preface this episode with?
This was actually the first time I ever watched this.
Oh, I don't think I introduced us. I'm Jayden Ginsweider, of course, joined with co-host Shane Price. Okay, go back to what you're saying.
This is probably the first time I've ever seen this match in full. This show in full. I've played through.
I feel like obviously I've watched the Taker match in full, the Taker Mankind match. I think maybe one time before, just watching stuff on the WWE Network, I watched this full show. But if I have, it's been
a while.
It's been 8 or 9 years.
Playing through the Ken Shamrock Rock match in WWE 13.
Okay.
But that was in WWE 13, so it's been a while.
Yeah. Let's start off. Our first match of the night is Taka Michinoku and the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, against Kai and Tai, Dick Toko, Minz Teo, and Sho Funaki with Yamaguchi-san.
What a weird way to start a show.
Yeah, definitely. At the time, Taka Michinoku was the light heavyweight champion.
Weirdly not with Kai and Tai.
Yeah. I don't know what the storyline was. They didn't really talk about it.
No idea.
He was also dressed as a headbanger, which I thought was fun.
Really good.
Yeah, that was really good. In the grunge style of the Headbangers. I really liked that. It reminded me of when CM Punk wore face paint when he was teaming with Sting and Darby. Just kind of that little thing when you're in a six-man with some tag team you're not normally with, just buying into the gimmick is really funny.
For one night, he was Headbanger Taka.
Yes, exactly. Let's see, the ref is that guy with the bra and panties gimmick. He would always get rolled over in those matches. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Tim White?
Not Tim White. It's a different guy, the blonde guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never learned his name. I wrote here, sowing the seeds for Just Five Guys versus House of Torture. With Taka Michinoku on one side, Dick Toko on the other, of course, both in their respective stables in New Japan right now.
I did not think about that.
Yeah.
I tried to not think about the House of Torture. I think it's really funny.
Well, I was thinking, oh, wow, it's crazy. Taka Michinoku's still wrestling now. And then looked at it, I was like, wait, Dick Togo's still wrestling now. And they're both in New Japan.
I think Dick Togo is more surprising than Taka Michinoku is.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, because Taka was pretty young at this point. Like, he was probably 25-ish.
These guys are from Michinoku Pro. What are they doing in the World Wrestling Federation?
Yeah, Taka Michinoku's 50 now. This was 26 years ago, so he was 24?
Something like that.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Jerry Lawler name drops 9 Inch Nails. It's just something interesting.
Obviously, Lawler.
Which people can't see this in the studio, but there is a painting above us where someone's wearing a 9 Inch Nails shirt, so it's a weird connection.
Obviously, a big fan of Trent Reznor is Jerry Lawler. I think he really loves Pretty Hate Machine or whatever it was.
What do you think Jerry Lawler thinks of The Social Network?
I think,
of course, scored by Trent Reznor.
I think his favorite Reznor score is Soul from Pixar.
Probably. Lawler seems like a Pixar guy.
Yeah, something like that.
At one point, Dick Toko hits a 180 flying headbutt right into Taka's chest, which is a move I don't think I've ever seen.
When Taka was in the ring, this match felt like it shouldn't be in WWF.
Yeah.
It felt
like if this was happening in America, it should have been in the ECW arena. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's Michinoku Pro, guys. It should be.
Yeah. Which, of course, in the previous iteration of the show, we did record a ECW show where Michinoku Pro guys were there.
Yes.
So, let's see. Taka hits a Michinoku driver. I think it was on Teo for the win. I think it was 3 stars. It was a fun match.
It was the perfect way to open a show where it's going to have you have a huge spot by doing some quick action with guys who could go. I gave it 3 too. It was pretty solid.
Like a classic Attitude Era opener.
Yeah, Rain
This is just what they did in the Attitude Era.
Imagine this is like Taka, S.A. Rios, and some other dude.
Savio Vega
against the Kai and Tai.
Yeah.
This would be a 4-star opener.
Yeah. Next, we had a segment where Sable introduced Vince, accompanied by Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe, of course, the Stooges. Yeah. Sable and Vince get very different reactions from the crowd. Pittsburgh crowd loved Sable, hated Vince McMahon, which is fair.
I would too.
Yeah. Sable slaps Patterson, and we don't really see it at first, but then they go back to it, and it's because he slapped her on the ass.
Famously into Sable, Pat Patterson.
Yes. So, deserved. Pat Patterson quit being a creep.
Yes.
And it's just a general heel promo from Vince hyping up the main event, trashing on Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Rah. Three Rivers, Steelworker.
Yeah. Then we have the first in our King of the Ring semifinal matches here. Ken Shamrock versus Jeff Jarrett, accompanied by Tennessee Lee. And here I'm going to do a little something. I'm calling this the Road to Royalty. This is how we got here, folks. Ken Shamrock defeated Kama Mustafa, who will later be known as the Godfather. Actually, is known as the Godfather by the time this pay-per-view happens. So this King of the Queen, he changes his gimmick in the middle of the King of the Ring tournament.
He loses in the King of the Ring tournament. Like, man, I should really start a strip club.
Yeah, I should start pimping. That's what his thoughts were. He's like, he was defeated. He lost to Shamrock, probably tapped out. He's like, I need to start pimping. Mark Henry defeated Terry Funk. I don't know.
Another, what the heck?
Yeah.
What was 19... Taka Michinoku, Dick Togo, the Headbangers, Sho Funaki,
Godfather.
Terry Funk, Godfather, Ken. What was 1998?
What a
WWE?
roster. What a roster.
Stacked.
And then Shamrock defeated Mark Henry. On the other side here, we have Jeff Jarrett, who defeated Farouk. Again. Mark Marrow defeats Steve Blackman. And then Jeff Jarrett defeats Mark Marrow.
Could you imagine if Farouk versus Steve Blackman was a quarter-final match?
Farouk versus Steve Blackman, and then either of them versus Ken Shamrock is
would
awesome.
have been awesome.
But I will give Jeff Jarrett his props in this match.
I will always give this guy his props any day of the
He
week.
sold his ass off for Shamrock for 5 minutes. Like, he went out there and made this 5-minute match fun.
Yes.
Tim White is your referee.
That's not wise.
Yeah. Jeff Jarrett hit a perfect drop kick. Like, he jumped just the perfect amount to get Shamrock right in the face. It looked beautiful. Hats off to Jeff Jarrett. Cowboy hats off to Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett was really, at this point, I guess, underutilized for how good he was.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a month after Over the Edge or something like that.
Probably over the Edge 98 would have been the pay-per-view before this.
So it's been like a month. He's kind of like he's like kind of getting back to being a heel. So
he's finding his Attitude Era self,
which lasts
you know what I mean?
A year because he jumped ship. So
he kind of continues the same character into WCW.
Yeah, true.
Let's see. Shamrock working an ankle injury given to him by Owen Hart. So Owen Hart, also former King of the Ring winner. Tim White breaks up a hold in the ropes by just pulling Jeff Jarrett by the hair, which I thought was really fun. I love when referees get physically involved.
I like when referees get physically, and I also like when they break their own rules too.
Yeah,
like break up the action.
There's one time that Bryce Rimsberg, this was like a random Dynamite at Rampage. There's the heel doing like an abdominal stretch and like grabbing the rope. I think I talked about this a lot before, but it's one of my favorite spots that I've seen. And he's holding the top rope, and Bryce Rimsberg just gets his leg up there and just kicks the guy's hand off that rope. It was awesome. Shamrock hits a Hurricane Rana with a great transition into an ankle lock. Jarrett taps immediately. I give this 2 3/4 stars.
And they made that move look like money, so
it was too short to really be great, but what we were given was pretty fun. So I think it's just a quarter star lower than the 6-man.
Yeah.
Thought it was really fun. Jeff Jarrett really working with his time. All right, now to the second semifinal. We have Dan Severn.
Again, what a roster.
What is happening? Versus The Rock with Mark Henry and The Godfather. Now it is time again for the Road to Royalty. The Rock defeated Vader. Triple H defeated X-Pac. The Rock defeated Triple H.
Triple H X-Pac is somehow the most boring match so far.
Okay, strap in. Dan Severn defeats D'Lo Brown. Owen Hart defeats Too Cold Scorpio.
You gotta be kidding me.
Dan Severn defeats Owen Hart.
Can we just run back King of the Ring 98?
Now? We can now.
Well, as much as we can.
As much as we can.
Can we run back King of the Ring 98?
There's no Vader, no Owen.
Can you just give me like a video game where I can do this anytime I want?
Yeah, what's Steve Blackman up to?
Bail bonds.
He's selling bail bonds?
Yeah, he's a bail bondsman.
All right. I guess get your money up, Steve Blackman.
Would you want to mess with Steve Blackman?
No, but not.
There you go.
The Rock Intercontinental Champion at this time, during that kind of historic time of him being Intercontinental Champion, one of the greatest IC champs of all time.
It's in a very fun, like, Nation Domination is coming to an end, but it's still like
kind of the height of Nation Domination era, right? You don't think so?
When Farouk was in his height.
Oh, okay.
But this is still like a pretty fun part of that stable.
Mike Chioda is your referee. He kicks out Mark Henry and Godfather. He wants to have a nice, clean fight. Good on you, Chioda.
With Dan Severn in the ring, it is a fight.
But then Henry and Godfather come back. They distract the refs. So D'Lo Brown, who is debuting the chest protector, hits a frog splash on Severn. So this show is remembered for Undertaker Mankind, but it should be remembered for the night that D'Lo Brown debuted his famous chest protector.
Could you imagine Ken Shamrock versus Dan Severn in the finals, though?
That would have been crazy. I mean, it could have just been an MMA fight at that point.
That might have been
They're both real fighters.
The amount of grappling that would happen in that match.
Awesome. It would have been Bryan Danielson's favorite match of all time. Favorite American match, at least.
He'd be in the front rows going...
Yeah. The Rock gets the pin. Pretty simple Rock match for this era. I'm going to give it 2.5 stars.
It was pretty alright.
It was both the semifinals were pretty short, both around 5 minutes. They give the final a bit more time.
Well, they're building to... Come on.
I mean, they got to wrestle twice, so the first match being short makes sense. Next we have Al Snow and Head versus Too Much, which is Brian Christopher and Scott Taylor. They will later be known as Too Cool, Scotty Too Hottie, and Grandmaster Sexay. What a time. If Al Snow and Head win, Al Snow gets a job because he's coming back from ECW at this point. He was formerly Avatar and Leaf Cassidy.
Something like that.
Jerry Lawler is the special ref. Last minute decision here. What do you think of Jerry Lawler? What did you think of Jerry Lawler's reffing abilities?
Conflict of interest much.
Yes, because of course Brian Christopher is his son, for those of you who don't know.
And he should have been wrestling too.
Yeah, and Jerry Lawler, good friends with Head.
Yes.
So,
yeah, he is.
So, what did you think of Lawler's reffing skills?
It wasn't bad. For a special ref, it wasn't bad.
Yep. There's a spot in this where Snow walks all the way up the ramp and then just runs all the way down into clothesline Brian Christopher. Awesome. And then immediately Scott Taylor hits a very poorly done springboard splash.
It's building. He's building up that talent. Yeah. But it's not here.
Snow hits a double DDT. There's a hot tag to a mannequin head. It's the Attitude Era, baby. Snow tries to pin Brian Christopher, but forgets that Head is legal. Brian Christopher ends up taking him out and pinning Head.
How do you pin Head?
Oh my gosh, 7 stars.
How do you pin Head? There's no shoulders on that.
I know, Jerry Lawler counted the pin. Ask Jerry Lawler.
Conflict of interest.
1.5 stars is what I gave this.
I gave this 7.5.
I think I was being generous. 7.5.
No, that is -6 stars.
Yeah, it was something. Next we get Owen Hart versus X-Pac.
So this wasn't before. This wasn't over the edge yet. So
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Well, they're over the edge 99 is when Owen passed away.
I forgot.
Over the edge 98 would have been like the month before this. There were two over the edges.
This is definitely Jarrett trying to like find his character with a team of Owen Hart, and he'll get it. But Owen at this point, kind of in the same boat, I want to say.
Yeah, he was kind of in a middle ground spot, really trying to figure out what he's doing next. Xbox started with a drop kick between the middle and bottom ropes and almost decapitated himself. It looked bad.
This going into the card, this could have been like my show stealer of the night, because the two guys are really good, but.
It ends up being solid.
Yeah.
Let's see. Owen throws Xbox into the timekeeper area, which at the time there's not like a barricade around it. It's just like a table and some guys. So
you got hazard pay back then.
There are gas cans all around the ring because the stipulation of the main event is that if Kane loses, he has to set himself on fire. During this match, Lawler says all he can smell is gasoline. So I'm sure they're empty, but in kayfabe, have JR, Lawler, the Fink, other ringside crew all just been huffing gas? Just right next to gas fumes for this whole show?
Imagine special guest referee after huffing gas fumes, and all you see is a styrofoam head.
Yeah. Crazy. Owen gets busted open. Mark Henry runs in, splashes X-Pac, because of course Owen's also in the Nation of Domination at this point. Chyna and Mark Henry get in each other's faces. Vader attacks Mark Henry. Okay. Who knows why?
Because it was Vader time.
It's Vader time. Yeah, of course. And then Owen Hart has the sharpshooter on X-Pac when Chyna hits him with a DDT out of it, which looked really cool.
Oh, that was good.
And then X-Pac just rolls over Owen for the win. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was really fun.
It was pretty solid, yeah. I thought it'd be a lot better than that, though. I mean, Owen and X-Pac.
Yeah, higher expectations for these two guys, but
Owen and X-Pac in like a 15-minute one-on-one, no outside interruptions would have been pretty
this is a better match on Raw's War.
Yes.
It fits in better on a Raw's War than it does on a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Next up, we had Paul Bearer cut a promo about the main event. Rest in peace, Paul Bearer. Great manager.
Yes,
One of the 3 great Paul managers of wrestling with Heyman and Ellering.
Kane, you're going to win. Something like that.
Next up, we got our first of 2 title matches tonight. The WWF World Tag Team Championship on the line. The New Age Outlaws defending against the Midnight Express, which is Bodacious Bart and Bombastic Bob. Chyna is out with the New Age Outlaws. She randomly has a hat and sunglasses now that she didn't have when she was out there with X-Pac.
Obviously, Billy Gunn gave her a hat and sunglasses.
I guess, yeah. The Midnight Express are the NWA Tag Team Champions at this point because this is one of the darker periods of NWA wrestling.
This is Jim Cornette being involved in WWF type era, so.
And I wrote here, this is the first gun civil war, long before the Acclaimed versus Bullet Club Gold.
Obviously, the Gun Club like their Uncle more.
What side do you think Bart would have been on of Acclaimed versus Bullet Club Gold?
Acclaimed.
Acclaimed? Think he's scissoring?
I don't think he's doing that, but I think he's just gonna be there to punch up some people.
Yeah, and then I wrote here justified Cornette sucks chance.
Well, I mean, come on.
And then a justified Cornette was about to use the NWA belt and Chyna low blows him. So Cornette really getting what he deserves. Outlaws win. Pretty kind of boring match. Nothing real exciting.
They're still pretty over.
Oh, of course, Bombastic Bob is Bob Holly, Hardcore Holly, if you guys didn't know. So it's Bart Gunn and Bob Holly, not who were the good Midnights? Was it Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's some old team.
Yeah. So 2.25 stars. Next, we are on to the King of the Ring finals. Triple H joins us for commentary. He is the reigning European champion and, of course, won the 1997 King of the Ring. Chyna joins Spanish commentary.
She was very good at Spanish commentary.
We have to talk about this. JR asked Triple H if he's bilingual. Triple H says, there's a lot of bi things I am. Lingual is not one of them.
One of the all-time great commentary mess-ups.
Yeah.
This line, I quote, far too often.
It's very funny.
It is really funny.
Because then he immediately walks it back. He's like, wait, what did I say? Awesome.
And
Great.
And JR just goes, "Be it as it may, we are live."
Just a great glimpse into like the real sense of humor of like DX and the Click. You know what I mean? Just because that's something that Shawn Michaels is on the floor laughing at. You know what I mean? Those guys love. Awesome. Also, I wrote here, doing commentary shirtless is very funny. It's a real good look. Triple H takes some shots at WCW. Says WWF is about what you do in the ring, not how much stroke you have with whoever is running the show and how much you're kissing their ass.
It's very funny that Triple H, of all people, is saying
That's what I was going to say. It ends up being kind of Triple H who marries into the McMahon family. So, this was a pretty regular Ken Shamrock Rock match. Shamrock throwing every suplex in the book. Rock selling his ass off. Sports entertaining. The Rock ends up tapping to an ankle lock. I give this 3.5 stars. I thought it was a pretty good match.
It was pretty good, yeah. I gave it 4.
4? Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty good. But now, before we get to the big parts of this card, we thought it'd be fun to do a tier list of King of the Ring winners. Now, this is based on their time as King of the Ring.
How well they were the king.
Of course, the earlier ones we may not know as much about. We'll still rank them, but first rule, I think... Actually, let's just go through them, right? King Bret Hart. He sort of used the King gimmick a little bit. He won it twice. What tier? We're going S, A, B, C, D, F. What tier are we putting the Hitman in as King of the Ring?
I don't really think of him as a King of the Ring winner. But you can't give it an F because he won it twice. And it's Bret Hart. I give it a C because he wins it twice.
Okay, I was thinking B or C. So you want to go C? Okay, let's go with C for Bret Hart. Next, we have a man we were just talking about, Triple H. Now, he's done a lot of kingly things as the King of Kings.
They will not be one of them.
I think he used the King of the Ring for a little bit in 97. Didn't go very long with it.
But it was the launch pad
for the King
career.
For his career. D? C?
Yeah, because the King of Kings isn't because of the King. He's the King of Kings. He was because he's the King of the Ring. He was King of Kings because he won championships and held on forever. So, yeah, I would say a D.
A D? Ken Shamrock. He didn't reuse it at all, so I'm going F.
He didn't need to, though. That's the thing.
Yes. Now, more modern one, King Sheamus.
He had a custom crown.
And he did go a bit with the... So he's got to be at least a B because he used the gimmick for a bit. And he's a very kingly guy. Kind of the same thing we see in Gunther.
Yeah.
So B?
Yeah, I'd say B.
King Corbin.
I want to say F, but he did use the gimmick.
I think he's an A-tier King of the Ring.
He really...
Because he was such a slimy heel as a King of the Ring. And he used it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I think he might be an A-tier King.
A-tier King...
Or do you want to go B?
No, I'd say A.
Go A?
He's really a middle of the road kind of guy, but he's the good hand, so I get it.
King Ass, Billy Gunn.
F.
He didn't use it.
No, not only did he use it, he got eviscerated. His career was over when The Rock said the Rock promo hit. So
yeah.
F.
King Lesnar.
I mean, it's Lesnar.
He didn't use it.
He never used it, so...
I think he was the first King Harley Race.
He became King Race. So I want to say a B.
I think he's a B. I was going to say S, so we'll settle at A. Because he's the first, he really... I think Lawler was already doing it before WWE King of the Ring. He really launched the gimmick and made King of the Ring something cool. So I think I'm going to go A.
Yeah, let's give it an A.
King Austin 316. This is, of course, he cuts the promo after, but he doesn't really use the King gimmick.
He wasn't King Austin, but you don't have Austin 316 without King Austin. So I want to say a D.
D. We'll give him a bump.
You can't give him an F.
King Tito Santana.
I didn't even know you won it.
F. King Don Morocco.
Same thing. I mean, but to be fair,
but he used the King gimmick for a little bit.
He did. So I guess a C.
Go C. Okay. King Barrett. He used the gimmick.
Kind of like a Sheamus
fun heel, kind of Sheamus-y. Do we want to go B with Sheamus?
Yeah.
King Booker.
S.
S tier.
He is the S tier.
He's. I think there's at least one more we put in the S tier.
He's the Jigglypuff. Oh, he's the Fox of like Superstars Ballet.
Are you making a Melee reference?
I am making a Melee reference. He's the Fox of this tier list.
Okay. Does that make Billy Gunn the Sheik of this tier list?
Yes.
Okay. King Mabel.
He used the gimmick. But that's where it ends.
D.
D.
Now our second King Heart, King Owen.
I feel like he used the gimmick.
He used the gimmick for a while. He used it more than Brett.
And also he used it more importantly in that Brett Owen feud, and within the Slammies and all that. I would say a B.
Okay, I was thinking B as well. King DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
I feel like he didn't use it.
He didn't use it. I didn't even know he really wanted it. F tier, right? Macho King.
S.
Yeah, that's S. I don't think anything else is going in the S tier. It's Booker and it's Macho. If
Lawler was on it, we would say S, but he didn't win the King of the Ring. He's a fake king.
Yeah. And then King Angle.
He didn't really run the whole king thing.
He didn't really use it. I think F tier because he didn't.
No, yeah.
He didn't use it.
If Lesnar's in the F tier, you gotta put Brock. You gotta put Kurt in the F tier.
King Edge. F tier. He didn't use King of the Ring. Do you even remember he won King of the Ring?
No.
Okay.
When was this?
2001, I think.
Yeah.
I think it went Billy Gunn, Edge, Lesnar were the last three when they were doing the pay-per-view run.
Yeah, no, I know.
King Regal. What? Oh, wait. He used it. I think I remember him feuding with Punk as King of the Ring. Punk was IC champ.
Because his music, that's from King of the Ring. So
at least a C, maybe a B?
I want to say B.
Okay, go B. And then our most recent King before, of course, we don't know who's going to win this weekend, but King Woods.
He was king for a little bit.
He used it in a storyline with the Bloodline. He made that tournament matter. Like, he wanted it so bad. I think he's an A.
Yeah.
All right, so final results. F tier, we have Shamrock, Gunn, Lesnar, Santana, DiBiase, Angle, and Edge. D tier, we have Triple H, Austin, and Mabel. C tier, we have Bret Hart and Don Morocco. B tier, we have Sheamus, Barrett, Owen Hart, and Regal. A tier is Corbin, Race, and Woods. And then S tier is Booker and Randy Savage.
Yeah.
That's perfect. No changes?
No changes, I don't like.
All right, that is our official Kings of the Ring tier list. Next, we go on to what this show is really remembered for. Hell in a Cell 2, I believe? Maybe 3?
No, I think it's 2.
Okay. One of the early Hell in a Cells, not the first one, but one of the early ones. Mankind, The Undertaker, fully immediately climbs the cell during his entrance. Just immediately, right? Taker follows. 1 minute into the match, Taker throws him off the cell. They didn't build to that. They started there.
Well, that's just Mick Foley.
That's Mick Foley for you. That's Attitude Era Wrestling. So, of course, I wrote here, I forgot this happens like a minute to the match. JR and Lawler sell this moment so well, probably because they thought Foley was actually dead.
Yeah.
What talked about this moment in the greater history of pro wrestling?
I mean, this is one of the, when you think about professional wrestling, you think about like this. Mm-hmm. I made a stop motion of this in 6th grade on like some stick figure animation tool for a class. Mm-hmm. This is that iconic of a moment.
It is in the all-time wrestling highlight reel. It is there with the Austin 316 promo. It is there with CM Punk leaving Money in the Bank. It is there with, so many other Taker, Michaels, WrestleMania 25. Like, it's there with so many other things. Just an all-time wrestling moment. Everybody's seen it, of course. The call. You want to say it?
Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. He's broken in half.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah. Everybody's, yeah. The cage starts raising with Taker still on it so that Metal Cruz could get to Mankind.
That was terrifying.
Yes, that looks really scary.
That, I think, even more, like if you go, when you're watching this live, it's that Foley thing is worse, but like with hindsight in mind, like we did in Japan, the cage raising Taker was even more scary because he could have went over too.
Yeah. From a higher thing and not planned.
Not expected.
Yes. Taker comes down while Foley's being taken to the back. They both go back to the top of the cell where Taker chokeslams Foley through the top of the cage, man. That's just as crazy. Like, yeah, he lands in the ring this time, but
that ring is probably not as soft as the table was.
Yeah.
That ring back in the 98 was stiff.
Yeah. So that is just crazy.
Poor Terry.
Terry Funk is out there.
Terry Funk thinks his friend is actually dead.
Yeah.
Like, he has talked about this. Terry Funk is like thinking he's dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Taker chokeslams Terry Funk as well. Foley, and then we get into a real match. Oh, go ahead with.
Because even though Terry Funk, I think his friend is dead, Terry Funk's a worker. Damn it.
He's gonna take a bump. Then we go into a regular hardcore style Attitude Era match. There's chairs involved. There's
Mick Foley,
tacks.
who is already concussed, just gets even more concussed.
Yeah. At the end, Undertaker hits a tombstone in the tacks, gets the win. 4-star match.
I give 4.5.
Yeah, I don't think it can quite be a 5 because it's more of just a stunt show.
I mean, we've given death matches a 5 before.
Yeah,
so, but in comparison to
it felt like this match was about the high moments and not really telling the story between the high moments.
Yeah, because the death match you given, if you haven't heard our old stuff, we gave it to Combat Toto's last match against Megumi Kudo, which tells an incredible story. Compared to this is a spot fest.
Yes, and I think we also the main event of One Night Stand 2005 was Dudley's against Dreamer and Funk.
Dudley's against Dreamer and Funk. That was more like a all-out brawl.
Yeah, but still a very hardcore
Yes.
match. So we've praised these kind of matches before, but you still have to tell some sort of story.
Yeah.
In this match, the story is just the high spots.
Yeah.
And then the main event, which nobody ever remembers that wasn't the main event of that show. You know, kind of a...
There's nobody talks about this match.
What we talked about, I don't know, was that this episode or the weekly episode? Either way, what we talked about with WrestleMania 25, nobody remembers that Orton Triple H was that on the weekly episode?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Nobody remembers that Orton Triple H was the main event of WrestleMania 25. Because we all remember Taker Shawn. You know what I mean?
You know,
the real main event of this card, Steve Austin versus Kane. Kane has Paul Bearer.
Even then, that's still a pretty good match.
And also the first blood match ever. Yep. Lawler points out Kane's advantage of having no exposed skin, which is interesting for a first blood match.
Yes.
The cell starts lowering at some point for no reason. Kane Irish whips.
This makes it even funnier. Just put the cell down.
Yeah. Kane Irish whips Austin, who is clotheslined by the cell as it's lowering, because when the Irish whips him, it's like right at Austin's neck.
That's one of the most, actually, like the 3 most terrifying cage and cell moments to me are the Rollins almost dying, the Steve Austin almost gets decapitated, and Undertaker almost dies. So there you go.
Yeah, because then as the cell lowers, Kane is trying to hold Austin so that the cell just crushes his neck.
Yeah. Which
is insane.
I feel like the cell lowering was on purpose for this spot. But
it was obviously on purpose.
Yeah.
But
what the heck?
Yeah, crazy. Cell starts going back.
Can't stop it.
I don't know. The cell starts going back up, and Kane is caught in the door, hanging with his waist kind of on the little bottom bar of the door. And then Austin throws him off or something. Undertaker and Mankind get involved for some reason because it's the Attitude Era, I guess.
Mick Foley is not taking enough punishment.
Yeah, so Taker and Austin.
Because I think around this time, Austin and Mankind were teaming on Raw.
Okay,
against Taker and something like that.
There's some connection with all of them, probably from Raw.
It's Austin, Kane, Taker, Mankind.
Okay. Taker and Austin swing shirts at the same time, bouncing Austin's chair back into his own face. He starts bleeding, but Hebner's down. Earl Hebner, of course, the main referee this era.
Yes.
Taker starts pouring gas on Earl Hebner to wake him up. Kane takes a brutal chair shot. Knoxville, this is your mayor. And Kane wins because the ref wakes up and realizes Austin's bleeding.
How do you
3 3/4.
How do you cheat in a first blood match?
I don't know.
You wipe the blood off?
The way that finish happened, where it was like, oh, Austin's bleeding, but the ref doesn't see it. Well, as soon as the ref wakes up, he's going to see it. You can't see blood on Kane, even if he is bleeding. Kane could have been bleeding from minute 1. We just don't see it.
What a weird match type first blood really is.
So I gave it 3 3/4 because it could have been higher, but the logistics of the gimmick didn't really work for this match.
I'm gonna give it I'll give it a 3.5 too.
Yeah. So now we're gonna add a segment to our classic reviews, which we haven't done before. This is our categories, loosely based on the rewatchables from The Ringer, which is about rewatching movies. We're watching old wrestling. So our first award here is the best moment of the night. This goes to a single sequence move. It can't go to like a whole match. It can, maybe a shorter promo, but it's Taker thrown fully off the cell, right?
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, easily. Now the Heat Check Award. This goes to who did the most with a short amount of time. For movies, think Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Glen Ross, stuff like that. I'm giving it to Jeff Jarrett.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Right? Because like
he made Ken Shamrock
in that 5 minutes. Yeah, it just really looked good.
Like if you were flipping the channels when you saw pay-per-view and you're like, oh hey, it's wrestling, I haven't seen that in forever. Like, oh yeah, cool. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And you see Jeff Jarrett make Ken Shamrock, like, wow, that man, Ken Shamrock is dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
If the most dangerous man in the caution warning danger signs didn't show it enough.
Apex Mountain. Now, this is where we maybe debate a little bit. Is this the greatest moment for something? It could be a wrestler. It could be another on-screen talent, a match type, a pay-per-view, anything, a city even. It depends, right? Mm-hmm. On what happens. Is this Apex Mountain for Hell in a Cell? Oh, the definition of Apex Mountain, the very peak of its popularity, of its powers. So like, is this Apex Mountain for the Hell in a Cell? Has it ever been better or more important than this moment?
No.
Yeah, I think this is the Apex for Hell in a Cell. No? What's the Apex for Hell in a Cell?
97.
The first Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
You think that's bigger than this?
Yeah. It's a bigger moment.
I don't think so.
This has
Bad Blood Hell in a Cell. Maybe makes the all-time highlight reel because of Kane's debut.
Taker Miles was a bloody match. Like, they fought each other.
It's a great match. But so is, like, Foley Triple H in 2000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I just think that, like, when I think of Hell in the Cell, I think of Taker, Michaels, of Kane.
I think most people would think of this one, but okay. It's one of those spots.
Let's just. It's 1-2. So I'll say whatever. It's
Is this Apex Mountain for Mick Foley?
No.
This is what I was thinking. I brought this up because I think it's worth having the conversation. I was thinking it's either this or it is Don't Change the Channel. The other company's putting their title on Mick Foley.
It is. It's that. It's Mick Foley winning the title.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to mention it because it's worth mentioning in the Mick Foley Apex Mountain conversation.
It is. But Shivani saying that'll put button, or whoever put that'll put butts in seats, that whole like conversation in WCW, the ratings changed that
flips
night.
The Monday Night War. Yeah. That's the turning point. So that's fair. I agree with you. I just thought it was worth bringing up.
It would have flipped either way, but like you know what I mean.
Is this Apex Mountain for The Undertaker?
No.
What do you think is for him? Is it WrestleMania 25?
It's either 25 or 27.
Okay. Or 30 maybe when the streak ends?
No, that's not the best. Like 25 is the best streak match. 20 years of the streak is important too.
Yeah, I don't think 27's in the conversation. I think it's either 25 because that match is remembered as one of the greatest matches of all time.
25 or 28.
Or it's this.
No, yeah, I can see this too. I think it's 25 or 28.
Okay. 28. Okay. Is this Apex Mountain for Jim Ross? Is this the greatest? I think this is the greatest call Jim Ross ever makes.
Overall, no. One line, yes.
Okay, so you're saying in 1998 he's not the best commentator he will be, but if you were picking greatest moment of his career,
give him WrestleMania 17.
Okay,
that on that whole show he was on fire.
Okay, so WrestleMania 17 maybe. Mm-hmm. I think it could be this. It could. I think, this is the most remembered Jim Ross single call of all time.
The X Mountain of Jim Ross.
Is this the Apex Mountain for commentary lines?
Yes.
This is the, okay. Yes. So it's not for Jim Ross. This is the Apex Mountain for commentary lines.
Jim Ross's Apex Mountain is whenever Triple H is being a bad guy because he despises him.
Okay. All right, that's great. Now we are going to go to a recasting segment. So, for the year 2024, if we were obviously you can't redo matches, right? You can't just shot for shot recreate a match. But let's say you could. Who in 2024 should be in this match?
Brody King, King, Darby Allin.
I had the same thing. Darby Allin as Mankind. I had Sting as Terry Funk without makeup, just coming out there in his normal clothes.
Steve Borden.
Steve Borden, right? And then I was like, nobody matches the Undertaker's aura, but if we're doing Darby Allin, pair him with Brody King. And then
Brody King would like to murder him. So
Paul Turner as Tim White.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So we went all AEW. In the future, we can mix and match, right? But for this one...
It just made the most sense.
This made the most sense. Okay, so we had the exact same ideas. Best double feature. So if you're going to watch, not the whole pay-per-view, but if you're going to watch the Hell in a Cell match on this show, what's the best match to double feature it with? I have 3 ideas, and then you can add any and we can pick them. There's 3 routes, I thought. The first route is Taker versus Foley, and you pair this, you watch the Boiler Room Brawl first, and then you watch this. The second idea is WrestleMania 22, or that the Boiler Room Brawl was at SummerSlam 96 for anyone who's interested. WrestleMania 22, Edge versus Mick Foley. So this is just the Foley doing crazy shit route. So you watch this, and then you watch Mania 22. And then I wrote here, Taker Hell in a Cell route. You watch Bad Blood 97. Taker, it's in your house. Taker versus Shawn Michaels, and then you watch this. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? Any others you would throw in there?
I want to add one for all of my wrestling sickos out there.
Okay.
Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk, IWA King at death matches.
Ooh, bring a Terry Funk angle to it. I like that.
Terry Funk's in there. If you want to watch if you like Mick Foley doing things that a human should not be doing to himself, King of death matches.
I think the best double feature is Bad Blood 97.
Probably.
Though. If you're going to watch another match with this one, go back and watch Shawn and Taker.
They're both very shockingly violent for the time.
Yeah. So, all right, that's the end of our categories. Maybe we'll add more as we go, but that's what we have right now. I think it's just fun to put that in put the show in perspective a little different way. Now we'll go on to 2 things we've always done: the classic hot dog and handshake. For this week, of course, the rule here is that you can't give it to what we watch the show for. So, Taker Foley completely off the board, I think.
Yes.
Okay. So, what are you going with for the classic handshake?
I'm gonna say the semifinals and the final together.
Just the King of the Ring tournament?
Yeah, it's like one whole thing.
I went with the main event with Austin and Kane. It's schmozzy at the end, but it's just perfectly Attitude Era. It encapsulates the era pretty well.
Yeah,
so I'm going with Austin versus Kane.
So does the King of the Ring tournament too.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Look at that mid card roster. That's stacked.
That is stacked. That is something that I don't think is talked about the Attitude Era enough. We talk about the main event scene. You know, Taker, Foley, Austin, Angle, Kane, Triple H, Rock. Right.
That upper mid card to mid card level of like getting like not including like Val Venus. Or,
just all the guys we talked about that were in the tournament
are dogs.
Yeah. Here, let me pull it back up.
If we could sponsor people, I'd sponsor that entire tournament.
Yeah. You know, guys like X-Pac, D'Lo Brown, Owen Hart, Too Cold Scorpio, Jeff Jarrett, Farouk Vader, Mark Mero, Steve Blackman, Kama Mustafa, Mark Henry, Terry Funk. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane tournament lineup. And then finally, if you are going to give this show a score out of 10, what are you giving it?
Are we resetting? Is this a blank slate?
Blank slate. So this will be the new highest rated one, of course.
A 7.
Okay, I gave it a 6. So it's going to be overall a 13 out of 20 from us. It's pretty good. Yeah. Pretty solid. I think that's kind of middle of the road for what we usually give. We kind of try to pick shows that we think we aren't going to rate low. So
Yeah, please go watch let's listen to our WrestleMania 30 review.
I don't think either one of us remembered that show being as bad as it was.
No.
So that's one. And sometimes, we rated SummerSlam 92 low, but that was because it was just having a moment. We had to talk about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Anyway, coming up next, we have the first ever NXT TakeOver will be our next one. May 29th, so between the record, so a little bit before we release that, but will be the 10th anniversary. So we are going to go check that out. Matches include Tyler Breeze versus Sami Zayn, Tyson Kidd challenging for the NXT title against Neville, and a couple other matches. So I'm excited to check that out, see what the beginnings of NXT were like, because I think I wasn't watching NXT at the time.
I wasn't either.
It hadn't really blown up yet, so...
Give it like a year, and I'm following it on like Twitter. But before then...
When was Bobby Roode NXT champion?
2017.
That's when I started watching. He was an NXT champion when I started watching.
17, 18, so 4 years from now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, NXT champion... he was shown on screen for the first time in 2016, NXT champion in 2017. So, yep. I think that's it. This was a pretty solid show. Definitely, if you're going to watch, at least go back and watch the whole Hell in a Cell match, because I don't think enough people have done that. It's from our generation, at least, haven't watched that match in full, because it just keeps getting crazier. And most of all, just remember to enjoy wrestling.